All right, we got audio. We got audio. Things look like they're working. Howdy, folks. Welcome to Friday. Welcome to the late shift. Man, we got lots of people streaming in here. That's good to see. Welcome, everybody. Hey, tonight we're going to talk about something that's been consuming me for like the last couple of days. Probably the last 2 days. You guys may recall a while back I had mentioned that Tim, Rockets and Radios, got me connected with this little cardputer thing. He said, "Hey, I want to do a little something with this together," and I said, "Well, that sounds cool, but I don't have one of those, so I figured I better get one." And I got it. And, you know, I thought it looked kind of cool, but it's actually a lot cooler than I expected it to be. And I've just kind of had it sitting here on my desk. I turn it on, I play with it every now and then. I'm waiting for inspiration on what can I use. You know, it's cool and all, but what can you do with it? Well, inspiration finally hit. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. That's going to be our main topic for tonight. And I'm excited to show you guys what I've been doing with this thing. And we're not where I want to be yet, but my goal, and I don't want to steal too much thunder here, my goal is to take this with me to Huntsville and be able to use it for its intended purpose. So that's been keeping me busy, and I thought, why not share that? You know, be easy to think, it's not done yet, don't share it. But I'd rather share it with you guys in these early stages. Maybe you guys will have some ideas that'll help me make this thing more practical, better, blah, 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 right? Get input early, and, you know, who knows? Maybe it'll turn out better than it would have otherwise. But so that'll be our topic for those of you who are curious. All right. Nice to see a lot of green out there. Thank you, channel subscribers. I appreciate you all. Andy was first out there tonight. He was an early bird. I haven't seen Tim. Grayman will stroll in here pretty soon and claim to be first, but we all know that's not the case. But we'll play along with him. Hey, Bill. Good to see Bill out there. Bill's my primary right hand in the chat. Nice to have you out there, Bill. But yeah, good to see Andy out there. Good to see Hillbilly Dave out there. Let's see. I saw Jeremy early. I saw Michael early. So thank you guys for showing up early. I think I've mentioned this before. Ooh, Greg. Greg was like maybe second. He said he was getting in early to get a good seat. That's always a good strategy. Oh, and I see somebody talking to Cooley, and I can't see Cooley, so let me switch over to live chat and see if Cooley shows up for me. Cooley, you have to put something in the chat and see if I've got you. Brooks, welcome from Southern California. Good to have you out there. A little early out there for you. Thanks for being a little early. West Designs. West Design 03. I don't recall seeing that name before. So welcome if you're a first timer here. It's good to have you. AE4MQ, welcome. Josh gave me one of those. One of those. Is that one of these? Is that what you're talking about? I mean, these things aren't really that expensive. You know, it's an ESP32, right? It's like the world is run by ESP32 these days. But hey, that's okay. It's a cheap microcontroller, and, you know, there's lots of support out there for it. You could do a lot of cool things with it. So I'm here for it. Oh, okay. For Christmas a few years ago. Gotcha. Oh yeah, Matt, I gotcha. Yeah, they're pretty cool little devices. we're going to dive into it. I didn't realize how cool they actually were, until I started playing with it. Really cool stuff. All right, well, let's see here. I do have, you know, I feel bad. I've got my Twitch stuff running in addition to YouTube, and I've just kind of started doing that, just kind of out of habit more than anything. But I haven't been paying much attention to it. And last week, you know, at the end of the stream, you get a little highlight that tells you about your statistics and blah blah blah. And you know, I never get more than, you know, half a dozen people that bop in and check out what's going on Twitch, but I roll it there anyhow, say what the heck. But there was somebody who was trying to chat last week and I missed it. And so I made sure I turned on the chat so that they will scroll through the chat and I can pull them up in chat if that happens to be the case. So if any of you out there in Twitch land are listening in, feel free to join the chat. All right, let's see what else I've got going on here. I guess, well, let me do a quick look. I guess we can go ahead and just jump in and do some quick housekeeping stuff here. Let me jump over here. Where am I at? I got to get to the right spot. We are quickly approaching the 1-year anniversary for the channel here. And with that, I'm going to have a channel giveaway. And so I always like to, here we go. I always like to highlight here the community list. If you guys are interested, if you're not on the community list, I saw we have a few, what appears to be a few new people out there. Some people I hadn't noticed before, at least. But I'm going to be giving away a radio at the very least. I have a few things that are rolling in, so we'll have, you know, a few prizes to give away, some thank you prizes in the 1-year stream. And you've got to be on the community list if you're going to win a prize, right? So all the prize drawings happen from the community list. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, go check that out. bit.tz/CL for the community list. And that'll also get you on my mailing list. I don't do a bunch of that. I'm trying to do 1 a month, so maybe 12 a year, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but not significantly more. The other thing I'll mention here just real quick is my link tree. This is, a bunch of, there's some merch stuff out there. If anyone's looking for like a Satellite Hunter t-shirt, those types of things, some bumper stickers, some things that help support the channel. There's a lot of affiliate codes out here. Coupon codes, affiliate codes. So if you guys are looking to purchase something, this is a great way to support the channel without it costing you any extra. So go check all those things out. I also have links to my Amazon store out there. That's another way that you can support the channel. And I also am a secondary host to Tim, Rockets and Radio's satellite frequency guides out here. So you guys are always welcome to go out there and grab those there as well. All right, so let's see. We're going to zip through just a few items here on the This and That segment here tonight. Not a whole lot to share, but a few pretty cool things. Canada got themselves a satellite up in space. So we've got a new Canadian satellite, MARMOTSat. It's still going through kind of its initial operational checklist and all those types of things. So it's not quite ready for ham use or ham access. And it looks like SatNogs isn't quite, I'm trying to get to the transmitters and nothing's coming up. So I'm guessing SatNogs isn't quite up to date yet either, but we do have a link here. SatNogs always does a great job here. What is that? Looks like maybe a 3U. Looks to be about a 3U CubeSat. Yeah, that's about, it's 3U plus. You see that 340 millimeters. So it's a little bit more than 3U. But let's see if we can find, real quick what their, I'm going to have to, we might come back to this afterwards. This is a pretty interesting picture. It's a pretty detailed picture. It's got some cool stuff on it we should dig into. I don't want to take the time right now, though, but we may come back to this. Well, let's see. They say amateur radio up here. I'm trying to find out what their missions are. Let's see here. Oh, we got some information. Yeah, we'll definitely have to come back and check this out. Looks like they got a digipeater, some telemetry. Yeah, so some stuff that we can certainly check out a little bit later. It's always exciting to see some new satellites go up. But let's see what else we've got here. We've also got a couple new satellite tracking software packages out there. This one here is called OscarWatch, and these came through the AMSAT News Service, ANS. I've spoke about that before. If you guys aren't signed up for the AMSAT News Service, go out to the AMSAT website, look that up, and get yourself signed up if you have any interest at all in satellites. They always have lots of great news tidbits every week about what's going on in the ham radio satellite world. And this is one of those things. And again, we may come back to this a little later. I want to jump into our main topic here as quickly as we can. But a couple of new satellite packages, and this looks like it's Linux, Mac, and Windows supported. So we've got one here called OscarWatch Tracker. We've got another one here called SatTrack. This one was also highlighted in the current ANS. And actually, I think the new ANS comes out later this evening. So this is almost a week old. So some of you may have already seen some of this. Plus, some of these folks have been chatting about this out in Xland prior to the kind of official release, if you will. So that's another great place for satellite interested folks to get some news and learn what's going on. X is definitely the place for satellite information. Speaking of, and I have to check my chat here. Well, let me look here just really quick. Oh, wait, what did I see there? Oh, it looks like, there we go. I saw this pop up on my phone before I saw it pop up on my workstation here. Whoop. Boy, that's acting a little funky. Let's see if it's going to actually work. I may have some gremlins here I need to work out. But I see Michael had jumped over to Twitch to watch the stream. So I see your chat there, Michael. I'm going to try it one more time. I'd like for that to work. But it seems, something seems a little slow here. Oh yeah, I've got some overload. Let's see here. I don't know if that's impacting the stream yet. Let me see. I've got to do just a little bit of housekeeping here maybe and try to clean up, try to make a little room here. Let's see if I can't make just a little bit of room here. I want to keep that up for now. I've got some extra stuff loaded that I don't typically have. You guys will have to tell me. Yeah, so I'm curious, Michael, if you're seeing the latency over on the Twitch side. That'd be interesting to know as well. Let me see. I'm trying to close a few things here just to... try to free up some resources and see if that doesn't make things just a little bit better. All right. What do I have here? Oh, this might, yeah. Hopefully that flattens out a little bit. We'll keep an eye on it. Let me get my chat back up so I don't lose you guys. There we go. Jody, welcome. Nice to see you out there. Lee, welcome. Almost really late. Nah, you're good. You're good. Doc Brad, welcome. Good to see you out there. And yeah, it seems like maybe I'm back. I'm back on track here. But anyhow, a couple new satellite tracking applications out there. I was checking something here. I got distracted. Yes, and I lost it. That's all right. We'll come back to it, I'm sure. It'll hit me again, I'm sure. A couple other things I'll just mention real quick. This weekend, we've got the Shreveport Amateur Radio Hamfest over in Shreveport. It's about a 3-hour drive from here, so not too bad. Unfortunately, I will not be able to make it. I was hoping to get over there this year, but I'm manning the ranch solo here this weekend, so I am not going to be able to run over there and hang out. But I think Jason went over, or he was planning to go over. It's a nice little show. If you guys haven't been, if you're in the DFW area, like I said, it's about a 3-hour trip over to that. It's certainly worth checking out if you've not been. It's a nice little show. Lots of nice people over there too. All right, let's see. Looks like, yeah, so this is what I was going to mention. Eric had actually reached out to me just a little bit, maybe 30 minutes before the show or something, and mentioned he was going to be working on a pass. That was like 5 minutes into the show, and he said, hey, I'll stop out later, but, you know, this is going on at the beginning of the pass, or the beginning of the show, and it would have been great to be able to try to do a live contact at the beginning of the show. I know that's what he was kind of hinting at, but Eric, if you saw all the stuff that it takes for me to get this thing working and have it actually work, yeah, that's a little too much juggling for me at this point. Hey, Kyle, welcome. Nice to see you out there. Oh yeah, sounds like somebody was pushing a little too much power, right? Don't be rude out there. If you're working satellites, right? That's finite resources, finite spectrum, finite capability from a power standpoint, right? These satellites can only take so much. The capture effect is real, so be a kind operator. Do the right thing out there, folks. I know nobody that watches this show would be a bad actor out there. So, but hopefully you were able to make a few contacts out there, Eric. And it's nice to have Eric stateside. Wish it wasn't for the reason that it is, but it's good to have you stateside here, Eric. Hope everything's going well there with the cleanup and everything. Good point. Not capture effect on linear. Good point. Good point. Certainly on the FM birds. One other Hamfest I'll just mention real quick here, and I mention this one simply because I actually know where this one is, up in Marlborough, Massachusetts. So this is up in kind of Western Mass. I can't say Marlborough quite the way they say it up there, but this is a nice little Hamfest up there as well. So if any of you are up in the Northeast area, I got a chuckle out of this. They have a magic show, and that just that makes me giggle because I think of Magic Mike. Some of you guys might know Magic Mike down in Florida. He he's a ham that shows up on the stream here on occasion. He works satellites as well, and he's a magic dude. So, but this gave me a little chuckle. But I wanted to give these guys a shout out in Marlborough. I can't do the accent. I just can't. All right, let's see. Will I be in Huntsville? I will be in Huntsville. Yes, I'm going to be in Huntsville. I wasn't planning on it or expecting to be at Huntsville, but I actually am going to be in Huntsville. I come in on Wednesday, and I am there until early afternoon on Sunday. So looking forward to see folks. Yeah, so that's interesting. So I see Michael's comment there. Twitch isn't having issues, but YouTube appears to be. So hopefully that straightens out. Let's see. Tattoo on Fantasy Island used to yell, "Deplane." Yep. Descents. Yeah, Huntsville, Sonic, it is a good time. It is a lot of fun. There's no doubt about it. All right. Where am I at here? Yeah, hopefully this flattens out here. Let me see what it's not complaining right now, so says the stream is healthy, so we're going to run with it. Okay, so as I mentioned, I got this little Cardputer ADV. It's by M5. They make a lot of pretty cool project type stuff. And this thing here is actually really cool. Let me see if I can... Let's do a little switch to the overhead here. Give you guys a closer look at this. Now, you know, the bad thing is all this stuff is really pretty small, right? That's by and large not great. You can see how teeny tiny the screen is, but there is a lot of capability in this little device. You can see we've got a USB-C. This also has a bunch of other stuff in it. And it's interesting, these stamps, they call these things stamps. I think that's what they call them anyhow. These are replaceable. I don't know if you can tell, but this is actually like a little chip, a little module, and they sell a bunch of different modules that you can plug into these things to kind of extend the capabilities, change the capabilities of these little devices. You know, it's got a speaker, it's got a headphone jack there, it's got some expansion ports. Okay, we're going to take advantage of, we're going to talk about and take advantage of these here. It's got another little expansion bus here. You can turn on 5 volts in and out. You can turn that on or off, or you can switch whether or not you want it to provide 5 volts or if you want it to use 5 volts. These are actually little buttons, on-off switch, of course. And then when you flip the thing over, see if I can get a good shot of this. This tells you like just a ton of information, all the interfacing detail. This is telling you about the TRRS headphone jack here and what it can do. This is telling you about the expansion port here and what all these different, let me see, boy, wish I could get that just a little bit better. And I don't know that I will. You can kind of see it there, right? This tells you, this is like a key for that expansion port. And it just tells you how all this stuff in here works, which is just great. And it's, you know, it's kind of cool looking as well. And they have a few different versions of these, and they're actually coming out with a new version. We've talked about it just a little bit here on the channel as well. But they also have some of their own expansion slots for, or expansion devices for these. They have things that you can plug into here, and kind of the way that they've set this up is they've got some indents here with some brass screw, I don't know, what are they, screw holes? I don't know. There's probably a better name for them. But what you do is you plug that thing in, and then you can make sure that you have a solid connection with a couple M2 screws that you screw in there, right? So it's kind of a pretty cool little thing. And this is a color screen, so it's pretty cool. So I started trying to think about what I could do with this thing. And so I'm going to try to kill some more stuff. I just see this thing is lagging something terrible. And I think I know why. Like I said, I've got some stuff loaded I don't normally have loaded. But hang in there, folks. Let me know if it gets too bad, and I'll just have to shut some of that stuff down and load it when I need it. Let's see, where are we at here? Let me just catch up here, chat. Looks like Bricker made it in. Hey, Bricker. Sean, welcome. Nice to see you out there. Who makes the Cardputer? Arnie asks. It's a company called M5. They've got it right on the. If you just if you just Google that M5, you can see right there. You'll see they have all kinds of cool stuff. Actually, let's just take a minute. We're going to get into all the rest of this stuff in just a moment. But let's just take a minute. They've got all kinds of cool stuff. Here we go. M5Stack. Oh, that's not the one I want. I don't want the docs page. Let's just go to M5. Oh, that's interesting. Didn't like that endpoint. Let's just try that. There we go. So this is the company, M5Stack. They've got just boatloads of really cool stuff. We'll look at these controllers. Right, so this is what I'm talking about right here, right? So this thing's $30. There's all kinds of other little gadgets and gizmos. Some of these will work with this, some of them don't. You have to pay attention because they have a lot of different things. But they've got these Core S3s. They have a Stick S3. These are all different ESP32 based units, right? So these are like touch screen units, or they have a larger screen at least. I don't think all of them are touch screens. This one up here, I believe, is a touch screen. But you know, different form factors for different use cases is probably the way to think about it. This one here is what they call their tough. I think it's IP67 or maybe 66 rated, right? So it's designed, you can see they've got a little cable gland there. So they have all kinds of versions for different purposes, right? So really cool stuff. And then they've got all these little, you know, accessories and stuff that you can add to them. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. Let me see if real quick I can find one of the expansion boards. I don't know what it might be under. Oh, Cardputer ADV. Yeah, so this is one of the expansion boards I was talking about, right? This one gives you, this is SX1262, which allows you to run Meshtastic on this thing, right? It's a LoRa chip. So it comes with this little expansion piece here. You can see what it looks like when it's kind of connected. You guys probably can't see it. Here's a better picture of it, right? So it plugs into that expansion port. You can see where it's got a couple little screw holes here, so you can tighten it up, tighten it down, right? So when I started looking at some of that stuff, I said, you know what? This little thing is pretty cool, but I think it'd be even cooler if we added our own expansion to it. And so the idea that I had is And let me swing back over. And this is just stuff that I've had scattered all over my desk over the last couple of days as I've been working on this project. But my idea was, and I'm sure it's not a wholly unique idea, because I know that Tim had mentioned that there were some satellite firmwares for this device, right, to do some satellite tracking. And yeah, that's pretty cool. But I thought it would be cool if we did something a little different. Wouldn't it be cool if we could use this little device right here and have it act as a cat controller for not one, but for two Yaesu radios, two 818s or two 817s or an 818-817 pair, have this thing manage the cat control and the inverted frequencies for working linear satellites, right? So instead of, and to be able to take this out and more easily work linear birds mobile. And so the idea is that this thing here, we interface both of the 818, 817 combination, whatever it looks like, interface it to this device and have this manage the frequency on the other radio, or to run both frequencies from this device. Right, so we'll talk about that a little bit more as we go. Let me take a breath here, get a drink, and give you guys all a chance to react to that here. All right, let's see. What do we have here? Oh, Tim made it in. Welcome, Tim. Nice to see you out there. You probably heard me talking about you. Let's see here. CardSat only supports the 9700 cat control. Gotcha. All right, so in order to actually interface something to this out in the wild, though, I thought, you know what, I need to kind of create a little shuttle or a tray or a sled to try to organize all this stuff a little bit better. So that got me down the path of starting to design this little sled device. And all this is intended to do is, it's a press fit. Again, we've got these little indents on the bottom. It's pretty tightly, it's got close tolerances where this thing will slip right in, right? And I mean, it'll hold, it's press fit, but I thought, what the heck? I've got those screws on the bottom. Why not take advantage of those screws? And we can actually, more solidly connect the sled to the computer if we want to. So, and mind you, this is my kind of really first attempt to try to build something from scratch, design something from scratch with the 3D printer. So this has been a little bit of a challenge. I should have kept the half a dozen or so early versions of this that didn't fit, that didn't work before I got to this stage, but I didn't. But I hadn't done that, so I pitched a bunch of that stuff. So anyhow, this guy fits in here kind of like that, right? And then, because the big thing I need to do is I need to get some stability. I need to get some stability for this little port back here, right? So this is, what do they call that? Like an IDC port. You guys remember kind of the ribbon cable? That's really what this reminds me of, right? This is just kind of a female side to a bunch of header pins. And when you think about, okay, how are you gonna keep that somewhat stable? You know, that becomes a little bit of a challenge. Some other detail here, like I said, I've got these little indents here to help grab that thing, and we can screw it in if we want to. Just some other things that took me a little while to work through and figure out is what height I wanted to make this. I actually made it the exact same height as the bottom portion of the case, right? And I've got a little cutout here, but what that does is that still gives me full access to the ports and all the options, right? There's an SD card slot right there. I still have access to these buttons, have access to the on-off switch, etc. You know, that was some of the issues that I had to work through as I was working through my prototypes. The other thing I had to work through is how to try to make it feel just a little more comfortable in your hand as well. So I had to learn how to do these radiuses and all that kind of stuff, right? All kind of rookie, you know, first timer, rookie 3D printing design stuff, right? So it's been a really good exercise for me to do those types of things, right? And so the other thing, so some of the other aspects of this, right? So the whole idea here is, I got myself a ribbon cable, and you can see I've already started to splay this one out, but I've got some header pins. Now, normally when you get these header pins for projects, you know, something in your breadboard or something, they're usually like this, where you've got one side that has a long end and then another side that has a short end. All the header pins that I had were of this nature, right? And that's just really not going to work here. I mean, it's okay. You get them plugged in here, right? But the next thing you're going to plug in here just doesn't have enough purchase for it to stick. See if I can get that sucker out of there. So then I went on the hunt for these header pins that are twice, or they're the same length on both sides, right? See if you guys can see that there. Right, and what this allows me to do, and these are a standard pitch, I forget what it is it like a 1.54 pitch, I think is what it is. I think that's what it is. These will slide into a standard ribbon cable, right, and I've got 2 rows of them. And then that will slide right into my interface back here. And now that sucker's pretty solid, right? It's not going to fall out. It's not going to just drop out. And once you get it in the carrier here, in the sled, now it's, you know, really pretty stable. Okay. And so the idea here is that, the cat control for both radios will be serviced through this one 14-pin connector, right? It's a 2x7 or 14-pin connector. We have more than enough pins, and the device is capable of that. So that's kind of the plan. Okay. And so the next thing was, all right, I've got to get the radios plugged into this, right? So I went out to Amazon, I did some searching, and I found a 6-foot straight through accessory cable. And this is the same port that's on the 818 and the 817. And it's an 8-pin mini DIN connector. And so what I did is I bought a 6-foot one and I chopped it in half, right? I can use one for one computer, one half for one computer and the other half for the other computer. So this gets me my connection from my radio, and now I need to somehow tie the other end of this into this interface. And so where I landed, since I'm only using 3 pins, using a transmit, a receive, and a ground for cat control on those devices, where I ended up was with a TRS connection. So the idea is to put a TRS 1/8" plug on the end of this cable, mount female TRS plugs into the case, and now I've got a decent connection for my radios. And that's why we've got these little holes in the back of this bulkhead area here, right? And so the other thing I figured out along the way is, once I got the holes here where I wanted them, and I kind of pushed them out to the side because I have the connector in the middle, is I needed some sort of support for that TRS female to sit on, or else it was going to move around a little bit, right? So I added these little stanchions here to just give it some support. So now that'll go through. These things are small. And I got to make sure I get it on there right, because they have a couple slots in there to help you tighten them up, right, with like a straight edge screwdriver. But you guys get the idea, right? So that basically my interface for each computer is just a 1/8" TRS connection, right? So I've got a couple of those. Am I going to publish the STL? Yes, I will, Arnie. I still want to, I'm still messing around with like a little cover, and I don't quite have that worked out yet, but I want to have some way to put a little cover on this, just to keep the crud out, since, this is intended to be used outside. Right, so this is essentially what you got. Now you tighten these up, of course. Take this little piece of ribbon cable, pop it into this port, drop this in, right? And now what I got to do is I've got to solder up the correct pins here to these connectors. And now I've got an interface into this little device. Okay. You guys with me so far? Now, this is going to be testing my patience, I'm sure. I don't know if you guys have ever dealt with these ribbon cables. I'm sure some of you guys back in the day have. These things, first of all, it's difficult to find a tool that will let you crimp these male cables, right? So I'm also going to create a list. I've got a list in process of all the things that I bought on Amazon. The good news is none of these things are expensive, right? These little cables are like $4. You get a pack of 10 of these for $5. I mean, it is kind of expensive for what you get, but none of it's really super expensive. But just dealing with these cables is a pain, right? The good news is they're pretty stable, but the wires, in these ribbon cables are really fine. They're probably 26, 28 gauge wire. It's probably 28 gauge wire, right? So, and that's the same with this. Now, this is my first prototype, right? I just want to get this working, and then I'll work on maybe looking for better options in terms of how to do this, right? I'm just kind of in my MVP stage. I just want to see if this thing's gonna work the way I think it should. So, but the good news is, again, I think I bought this. I think it was $7, whack it in half, and I've got 2 of them, right? So I've got one for each computer, or one for each radio. Okay. So that's kind of my physical piece. I mean, just to tell you how small these cables are, I have these cool little devices here that I use for prototyping. Right, and it's just a breakout. It's a TRS breakout. I've got the male and the female side. Right, I was hoping I could get this wired up and then use this on the male side just to do some testing. But this wire is so small, such a thin gauge, this won't even grip it or hold it. So I can't even do that. So I'm just gonna have to. And part of the problem was I was waiting for these to show up. Right, I hadn't. These didn't show up till about an hour before showtime, and these are just super basic. Right, it's just a cheap TRS connection, ground, tip, and ring. That's it. All right, where are we at? You guys have any questions? You guys still with me? Building cables for the G90. Yikes. Oh yeah, I had this thing out while I was taking measurements of the case here because I wanted a really good tight fit. And I tell you, if you guys aren't using one of these when you're doing some designs, you need to get one of these. These are awesome. And they're not that expensive either. I think I've already got them out in my Amazon store if you guys are looking for one. I've had this one for a couple of years. It works pretty well. Let's see. All right, looks like you guys are yeah, and so, my initial idea here is to get this working with the Yaesu radios. If it works the way I think it should work, then I think there's an opportunity to probably do something similar for the ICOM radios or some other radios, right? There's not a whole lot of choices. It's really the ICOM radios, the 705s. But those interfaces are going to be USB most likely. So I don't know how practical that would be or if that would work. Or what it would take to interface with this little, I think they call this the EXP port in their Cardputer documentation. Yeah, Morgan. So this has the ability, this has 2 UARTs in it. So you can either have one accessible through this port, one through this port. And I see that kind of, right? You can either have them accessible through this back port or this side port, or you can do both through the back port. So it does have 2 UARTs. All right. So I made pretty good progress on the physical stuff. I also made some progress on the firmware side. All right, so let me turn this on here. We'll see how well this shows up. I might have to try to get a little closer here. All right, so what we have here is you can see at the very top, and it's a little blurry. I apologize for that. I'm trying to get it a little bit better. But at the very top, you might be able to see that it says RS-44. So I've got it programmed with the RS-44 frequencies, right? So this is a really popular linear satellite. Okay. And right now I've got it set up. And again, this transponder is inverted, meaning, just trying to get a better, I guess that's as good as it's going to be. Meaning as the uplink frequency increases, the downlink frequency decreases. So if you watch here, I'm on 1K. Boy, it's going to be just really hard to see. The good news is it's pretty easy to see. And let me try let's see if it can actually, it's going to be too far. Here, let's try this. That might work. But I've got it here where, and right now, this is all working. Where if I increase one frequency, it'll be decreasing the other frequency, right? And so I can also change, I can change the satellite. I've got a few, and I just loaded a bunch of satellites in there. This one isn't even an active satellite anymore. I just wanted to load a few satellites in, right? But if I either if I either tune up or tune down, the frequency will go in the right direction. Okay. Now, right now, this is just kind of like in demo mode, but if I hit the C button, it'll actually turn cat control on, and A controls B is the way that that's set up. And gosh, I wish you guys could see this a little bit better. Let me try to move it up. There we go. But anyhow, I have a way to turn cat control on and off. I have a way to cycle through different satellites. I have a way to change the frequency, and I can change the frequency step as well. So right now, I'm not doing any automated Doppler control or control of the satellite. It's all manual, but I just wanted to see if I could get it to work. And the good news is it works. Now the next steps are certainly to add a little automation to this, so you're not having to run it from the keyboard. Now it'll also work where if I'm tuning one radio, right? I said this is set up for cat A to B. If I'm turning the VFO on the A computer, it will inversely change the frequency on the B computer. All right, so let me take a second there and see what you guys are chatting about here. Let's see. Jody says there's an IDC crimp on connector that have male prongs already if you wouldn't need the pin headers. Yeah, so Jody, whenever I was looking, I mean, the first thing I was going to do is I was just going to buy a bunch of connectors, buy, you know, a stretch of ribbon cable and make my own cables. But, you know, initially when I started looking, I was looking for male IDC connectors, and nobody seems to make an IDC crimper that'll crimp a male connector, right? So I went down that rabbit hole for quite a while, and then I had the brilliant idea of, well, geez, why don't I just get a female connector and turn it into a male connector with those little header pins? So, you know, I could certainly go back and get a crimper, and I might do that if I end up screwing these two cables up, right? Again, this was a case where I bought one cable, I cut it in half, so I've got one and I've got a spare. But yeah, my initial, you know, and this is kind of the way things always go for me when I'm working on projects, right? I get one idea, I run down that rabbit hole, it either works or it doesn't, and then you have to pivot and do something different. And I had to pivot 2 or 3 times to come up with a solution that would work in this situation. And, you know, I'm hoping it works in this situation. These things are awful fine, right? Like I said, it's going to test me from a soldering perspective for sure. Let's see what else here. Yeah, that's all you need to control is the VFO. That's right. That's right, Morgan. So pretty straightforward and easy from a cat control perspective. Let's see. Arnie, very interesting. Diversity reception. Oh, yeah, that's always an interesting topic for sure. There we go, Gray Man. I turned a female into a male. That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah, those buttons are small. Absolutely small. So, but it gives you a way to test and validate that everything, that the software is working, right? Once you get it connected to the radios, you can control, you know, the whole idea is control the frequency on one radio, it will control the frequency on another radio. Again, the next step then would be to add full cat control, where it can actually do more from an automation perspective for you, right? But from a linear satellite perspective, if you know, it really simplifies things if you're turning one knob and both frequencies change, and then if it's adjusting for Doppler as well, now you're really into something. More than 2 pivots is a dance. Well, that's for sure. Yeah, that's exactly right, Morgan. That's exactly where I am right there. But I was really impressed with all the tooling that's available to really work on these things, right? That's another kind of aspect of this that's really pretty cool. Let me see here. I thought I had, let me see if I think I've got a few things here to share with you guys. Just a little bit deeper on some of the control stuff. And this is all stuff I'm gonna write up to once I am confident that it's repeatable, right? And somebody else would be able to do it. You know, that's the other side of this thing, is I want others to be able to do it as well. Yeah, so let's see here. If we bring this up here, right, so these are some of the pinouts that are available here. Let's see, am I able to scroll this over? Will this let me scroll over? Trying to let me see if it'll, is it not going to let me scroll over? It sure isn't, daggone it. But like I said, there's only 3 pins that are involved in these connections, right? And I've got them mapped out, so it's pretty straightforward. Let's see here. Yeah, that's probably not too helpful there. Let me see. I have some other artifacts I think I can show you guys that might be of interest. Not there. Let's see. Oh, I thought I had some little pictures here. Maybe they're not quite. Yeah. I might have to share those on these need a little work yet. But it's been a pretty fun little project. Like I said, once I started going down the rabbit hole, I was certainly getting sucked in. It's you know, it's the type of thing, at least for me, once I start down that rabbit hole, I'm like, I'm sucked in until I can get it done. And really, I want to try to get this complete so that I can share it and show folks whenever we get to Huntsville. But this is all, you know, using the platform IO Arduino framework. So it's all pretty straightforward. It's all C++. It's not terribly difficult. There's a lot of examples out there. There's a lot of places to get help. M5Stack has a handful of different libraries that make it really easy. And, you know, this is really something that I feel like anybody can take just a little bit of time and get familiar with, and be able to do something fun with these little devices. They're really pretty cool. 45 Auto, welcome. You're as bad as Tim. What's AMI arriving? I'll be there on Wednesday. I get there about, I think right around 4:30 is when I should hit the mountain. But certainly, if you guys have some feedback, some ideas, I would love to hear them. You know, this is, again, just where the 3D printer is so much fun, right? Just having the ability to do this rapid prototyping. I'm going to go ahead and... One of the other things that I got was this little... Where is it? This little pack of M2 screws, kind of every size and flavor you could imagine. So M24s up to M220s. And I'm sure I'll find some other uses for some of these things. Let's see. I want to go ahead and put this thing together. If I can find the bit. There it is. So they've got little washers and little lock washers, which I thought was pretty interesting. I mean, these things are tiny. M2's pretty small. Hey, Sean, weren't you here before? Just pop in again. What questions you guys have? Any questions I can answer about the project? Or again, I think this will be a great tool for folks that are using 2 Yaesu radios to work linear satellites. Oh, yeah. When's the last time you used that, Jeremy? I see Jeremy's got one of those. He acquired it somewhere along the way. I'm curious the last time. Never. Yeah, I am sure you're right, Morgan. I'm trying to learn a little bit more than to just let AI write the whole thing. But you guys can kind of see, right, that you get those 2 little screws in there and that really locks it in. But you know, I can tell you this, I'm not going to bang my head for too long on any particular challenge. So if I run into issues, I am not going to hesitate to get some help with it. But I'm trying to see how much of it I can do as I go. It's, none of it's terribly difficult. It's just trying to put all the pieces together and, learn how to use the tools. A big part of this is just learning how to use the tools. But it's, these are great little devices. I'm so glad Tim had mentioned it. I've certainly been having a lot of fun with it the last couple of days. And hopefully here, for any of you that are going to be in Huntsville, we'll be able to see it in action. You like the color, Lee? Lee, I started out, I printed probably 4 or 5 of these in that that awful green that you get whenever you buy a printer. It seems like everybody gives you this awful green PLA. So that's what I used until I got to a place that I felt like the design was pretty close to what I wanted. And then I went ahead and printed it in PETG. Let's see. Jody says, hardware-wise, once you settle on the cabling, a small PCB. Yeah, that's ultimately what I would like to do, Jody. This is really kind of a POC. It would be great to put a little PCB in here that has a header on it that all you need to do is solder a couple of female connectors, right? If you can find some that are maybe with 90-degree solder points on it, that would definitely be the way to go. Oh, interesting, Joshua. Sorry about that. Yeah, I guess I've just seen so many people printing with bamboo, right? Bamboo gives you this green, very, do I have any of those laying around here? I think I threw them all out. I probably had 4 or 5 of them. I've got another. I've also been experimenting. I've got another one here. I've been experimenting with different settings. Trying to get it to just feel better in the hand. This one here, I think I'm using a 0.2. Oh, here, I can show you guys. It's one of the things I wanted to share. Let me find it real quick. Where'd you go? There you go. Right, so this gives you an idea of what I'm working with here. So you can see the little kind of raised screw stanchions, right? And then these are the supports here. The other thing I was thinking about doing, I don't know if you guys have designed things like this or not. The other thing I was thinking about doing is, and I've adjusted the height on these and adjusted where these things hit on this back wall here a couple of times. One thing I thought might be worthwhile is to have a little slot here where you could use a zip tie to help try to stabilize that as well. Yeah, there's you know, I really liked, let me find this here real quick. I really liked, let me find this device. I thought this was a great little device. I think it's this Core S3. I thought this would be a cool device to build a similar type project off of. This guy's a little bit more expensive though. Not that that's a big deal, but I already had this other one, right? I already had this one that I bought after talking with Tim. So who knows? Maybe I'll do another version if this goes well with one of these touchscreen versions, because these are pretty cool little devices all on their own. And like I said, they do have a ruggedized one. This ruggedized one is kind of cool. I think this has a little bit of an older chip in it. Not that you really need this cable gland and stuff, but that can come off. You don't have to use that. But this gives you some waterproof if you need it for your project. For me though, you know, it's rare that I'm out in the rain working a satellite pass. I've done it in the past. I think I actually have some videos, some old videos out there, some of my early live streams where I was trying to work I was trying to work somebody, I think it wasn't a sked, but I saw it was a sked that somebody had posted. So I wanted to try to work that operator, and I can't even remember who it was right this minute. But, working in the rain isn't common. So, but, the more and more I've started working with this, the more and more I appreciate having, even though it's small, the more I appreciate having the keyboard. I mean, one of the other little things, I can show this to you guys here. One of the other little things that I did, and you may or may not be able to tell, is I've got some presets. So I can hit number 1 and it takes me to the low end of the one band. I can hit number 2 and it takes me to the high end of the band, or I can hit 0 and it takes me to the middle point of the band. So it gives you kind of a quick way to jump up and down the band. And it's, having all these keys allows you to do that kind of thing where, that would get pretty messy pretty quick, I think, with a touch interface, with a small touch interface. So the more I've been working with this, the more I've appreciated having all these input options. Hey, Pepe. Good morning and welcome. So any other questions at this point? Like I said, I'll be sharing this as I move it along. I am gonna I'll post the STLs. I'm thinking I'm just going to post the firmware and stuff once I have it all done as well. So it's been a fun little project, and like I said, I think it'll be a nifty addition to satellite operators that are using the dual 818/817 pairing. Let's see, when you do the lid, use that to stabilize the TRS jack. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm not really sure. I mean, the lid's a little bit of a conundrum for me right now. I mean, one thing I could certainly do is do some sort of screw down lid. I want to try to avoid that, but it's probably not a big deal to actually have a screw down lid. It's not like you're going to be, right, once everything's wired up, it's actually probably better to have a screw down lid. So maybe what that looks like is, put a stanchion in each of these corners and maybe one right here in the middle, right? Because once you have, oh crap, I forgot I put those screws in there. Once you have this cable in there, you've got a little bit of room in the middle, right? Some of these are going to go over this way. Some of these are going to go over this way. You can even snip these. You're not going to need these. So, it could actually be a screw down lid with something right here, and then another screw right there. Let's see, Rob, did you need 14-pin IDC male connectors or crimpers or both? So what I ended up, so the interface on this thing, Tim, is a 14-pin female interface. And so, I started out, I was looking for IDC crimpers that would let me crimp a male connector. I didn't realize how rare those really were. There's a ton of cheap crimpers out there, and I think that's all you need. Certainly it's all I need for the few that I'm intending to do. But there's, they all pretty much look the same, right? We can take a peek at them here just to show you guys what we're talking about. Right, there's a ton of them. Here's one. You got one here. They all look the same. Right, they're these pressed steel frames. They've got a little plastic buffer in them, and they're really designed to crimp a female connector. They're not designed to do a male connector. So I went down that rabbit hole quite a bit, trying to find a solution for that, Tim. Then I got wise and I said, well, you know what? Why don't I just use a female, and then, you know, get a couple header pins, sets of header pins, to mate them. Do you have a male crimper, Tim? I'd be interested just to see what that thing looks like. Bill's the improved Frank. I can't say that too loud. I know Frank Frank reached out to me early today, and he was going to his cigar bar, and they were having a big Drew Estate sale. So he reached out and said, hey, do you need any Drew Estate cigars? So he said he picked something up for me. So I can't, I always have to bust on him, and I'd bust on him if he was here. And maybe he is here. I'm not sure. But, you guys know Frank. Let's see. Jody says, if you get to the point everything's working, I can help you design a PCB. That'd be awesome, Jody. I don't have any experience with that either. Yeah, that would be awesome. I saw another question, Jeremy. Don't you flip the connector backwards, pin edge toward the thin edge? Pin edge towards the thin edge. That sounds like some sort of mnemonic that has been around forever. I don't know what it means, though, Jeremy. Like I said, these were pre-made, so I've got that going for me. Let's see. You know what? Let's see. I think I know what I need to do here. We're going to look for the M5 Cardputer ADV. All right, let's see. Here's one that's $41. I don't know why there's such a wide. So this one's saying 41, this one's saying 51. What do they say on their site? 29, but I don't think this includes international shipping. Let's just see what this looks like. Right, if other people want to try this out, and if they don't already have one of these, let's see. Enter shipping address. All right, let's see. I wonder how much of a shipping address they need. We can do, we should be able to just do. So $42 plus, there's probably going to be tax on that, but $42 without. Okay, so this one here is comparably priced. So that's good. I'm going to add that one. Oh, and this is coming from the M5Stack official store. That's good. I'm going to add this. Oh, I can't do it here. I forgot I'm not logged in to that browser. I'm going to add that to my store. I bought mine from Amazon as well. Yeah, I bought that $41 version. And let's see. They're all the time moving stuff around on here. I can never find where stuff goes. Let's see. Let me try this differently. Yeah, here we go. Let's see. I'm having a heck of a time finding that. Let me see here if I can find it real quick. Here it is. I want to show you guys what some of these others look like. I'm never very fast at figuring out how to do these things, so let's see. Nope. I can probably do it this way quicker. I'll pull this up for you guys in just a second. Here we go. All right. Now let's see if I can find this. There we go. Let's see if you guys are seeing that. Looks like you are. So if you go out to the store, you can see all the different things that that I had picked up. Right now, you may have some of these things. You probably don't need these M2 screws. Like I said, this press fit is really pretty good. So you could probably get away with not doing that. There may be a better option out here, but you know, for $10, that got me both of my cables, so I was fine with that. Here are those. There are a ton of female 3.5 millimeter jacks. I mean, an absolute ton of options on these. It took me a while to find one that was actually a good depth, right? So these really are at a good depth for this case. So that's a good fit here. These are those headers that I was talking about that are a little bit different than your standard headers, right? At least all the headers I had one long side and one short side. This has two long sides. And then here's that little cable that I found for $4. Gave me 2 tries once I whack it in half. And then, you know, if you're lucky enough to already have some of these things, you might not need them. But there's, you know, that'll help you guys if this is something you guys want to attempt on your own. Like I said, I've had a lot of fun with it. I'll try to get the STL out there pretty quickly. I'll probably, I guess I can, this is the first STL I've created, so I'll have to create an account and figure out how to upload it to the right kind of marketplace, whether that's printables or whatever, whatever those various markets are out there. Let's see. 45 says, can you claim any parts as back to school items? Oh yeah, that's a good point. Well, the good news is they're all under $100, so that qualifies. I don't know about, the rules are so funny in terms of what fits and what doesn't fit. I would think the Cardputer itself you could probably get. To Jody's point, there's probably a calculator app. I think there's a whole marketplace of apps for these little things too. The other thing I like about having it in this case, for me, it just fits in my hand better too, right? This makes the whole thing just a little bit bigger, which for me is a good thing, right? Because the thing's just really is pretty small. Let's see. Bricker says, I have a board here that I got from Valley Tech Custom Solutions for Cardputer. There's not a whole lot to making a board for the Cardputer. Yeah, I wouldn't think it's too difficult. Again, I got this idea 2 days ago. I got excited about it, and so I wanted to see if I could actually get something where I could actually control the radio, first of all. That was kind of like my first challenge. I wanted to make sure I could actually move the VFO and control it. I think after another week or so, I ought to be in pretty good shape in terms of having a workable solution. Like I said, my goal is to take it to Huntsville and be able to share it and show it off. Let's see. That has Bluetooth. Yeah, it definitely does have Bluetooth. I think there's a lot of directions you could take this, right? Again, for me, it was, let's take some baby steps. Let's take the first step. Can we control, right? Can I create an actual cat control program? Can I get the inverting frequency change to work? So I've been pretty happy with, what I've got done so far. Certainly lots to do on it. And, it's the kind of thing you could really just kind of go crazy with and take it in another direction. All right. Well, thanks for sticking around and checking that out. Was there any other, I don't know if there was any questions here. We didn't, we got distracted from this fairly quickly. It's this is really a basic type of thing, like I said, but it's the first one that I've ever made. And each little step is kind of, it feels like you're leveling up your skills, right? With each little thing you discover and learn and figure out how to do or that you need to do. It was pretty exciting, believe it or not, just to get these little guys here to actually line up and hit the slots. And that's where, you know, the micrometer really comes in, right? This thing here, you know, makes that precision measuring a dream. It was a lot easier than I expected it to be. It actually worked a lot better. I expected to have probably 25, 30 prototypes just to get to this point, or to get this far, and it really only took 4 or 5. I asked AI if I could use basic code for radio cat control. I got 1980s basic code for rig control. Yeah, it's all about the prompting for sure. But yeah, this was fun, just kind of getting it to this point. And kind of fun to learn about, you know, a bunch of the different features in the software too. That was, you know, up into this point, I've been printing other people's designs, right? I've been printing other people's stuff. This was the first time I had set out to try to design something and print something myself. All right. Well, let's see here. What I wouldn't mind doing is going back. And again, you guys can find all this stuff, right? If it's just shop, Amazon.com/shop/Digital Rancher will get you to my store. Or if you go over here to the bit.tz/dr, there's a link here to Amazon as well. I think there is anyhow. Yeah, there is. That'll get you to the store there. But what I would like to do here is get back to this new MARMOTSat Canadian satellite and see what type of radio missions this has. First of all, I guess let's just go back. Let me go back a step and take a look at this. Take a look at this satellite. This is kind of interesting. I don't know that well, maybe I just haven't paid attention close enough, and maybe it's because they're using a lot of white panels, but it looks like they've taken some extra steps to, I wonder if this is shielding or what, but you can see that they've got these panels that essentially line up with the rails that are used in the ejection hardware, and they've essentially put panels all around this thing and completely enclosed it. I'm guessing that's got some manner of RF shielding, right? You can see they got the solar panels, but even underneath the solar panels, they've got these other panels here. That looks pretty interesting. And then I was curious what this was here as well. You're not going to let me blow up this? All right, fine. Let's there we go. This looked like a switch, or a couple of switches. On one hand, it looks kind of like a switch. On another hand, it looks like blanks pushed into a fiber optic connector. I'm not sure what that is. This here on top looks like a GPS antenna or some sort of antenna. Let me see where you guys are in the chat here. You guys might know what some of this stuff is we're looking at. The digital rodent. We'll have to see how it got delivered. I think it was on a SpaceX transport. I don't know that for sure. Looks like CW paddles. And then this is kind of interesting here too. This, I guess that's their key. You know, we oftentimes will see that with the little nylon remove before flight type of tag. Nice work on the print job. Yeah, Fusion is a good tool for sure. But, whoop. And I don't know what that is right there. That's kind of curious looking as well. Let me try to back that off just a little bit. This looks so clean, you know, using these white panels. It just looks different than a lot of the other satellites. And it's interesting here, you've got TT&C, you got their control stuff, all their different interfaces here. But this certainly caught my eye. Like I said, this looks like a GPS antenna. I don't know what this little brass thing is up here. That's kind of curious. Looks like some sort of antenna connection that's capped off, but I don't know. And then it looks like these look like hinges here, right? So maybe, and we'll have to get back to another picture. It looks like these panels flip up, which would make sense. Get them all on one plane. That would make sense. Let's look down here at this end. There look like something interesting down here too. This this little coax connection here. It's kind of interesting how this protrudes out of the bottom. I wonder if this is right. What did it say? It was 330 centimeters or something, right? Maybe this is that extra 30. But if you look tucked in there, I don't know if you guys can see it or not. Let me try to zoom in one more time. It looks like there's a tape measure antenna tucked in back there. See that? Looks like the scale on a tape measure. So I'm guessing that's part of that tape measure antenna. I think that was in that picture, right? So that's pretty cool. Let's see. All right, let me get back down. What happened there? Okay. MCR flight units. I don't know what that's all about. Let's see. Oh yeah, so here, so they are using a tape measure dipole, it looks like. Oh, this is a great site. Looks like they've got lots of, yeah, Transport 17. So there you go, Arnie. Let's see here. Would you say, Eric, the red connector looks like fiber? That looks like fiber is to turn on the power and to deploy the antenna. Oh, cool. VHF components. So it's really kind of interesting, right? With all the options at their disposal, they choose tape measure for their antenna. And this is a pretty important antenna as well, right? This is our central to the satellite's operation and the amateur radio experiments with regards to supporting telemetry, tracking, and command. So that's all their control infrastructure and their VHF radio experiments. So that's cool. I wanted to see what kind of what they actually have on board as radio frequencies. Let's see if we can find that. Okay, here we go. A digipeater. VHF and 10 meter HF CW telemetry beacon. A novel DVB-S2 video beacon on 10 meters. Interesting. As well as an ionospheric sounding experiment with citizen science aspects. Also using 10 meter band. Well, this is good. Gives you something to do with 10 meters. Amateurs are encouraged to be involved in the mission. More information will be added. Okay, so they've got, so they've got a little VHF dipole, UHF dipole, and an HF whip. 2.6 meters. Okay. Okay, here's our frequencies. There's the command TT and C. Here's our digipeater. Telemetry beacons for CW. Cool. And then here's that digital video beacon. I don't know. What the heck is this? You guys know what this is? We'll have to look that up. Linear frequency modulation downlink. Let's see. What do you guys got going here? They use tape measures because they snap out. Yeah, they certainly do. But a lot of times I thought they used like a spring steel as opposed to a more flimsy tape measure. It's probably light as well, right? That's probably another aspect of it that they like. They have the line over a resistor. Yeah, that to me is so smart, right? The way that they do that. And then kind of the backup to that is the fishing line that they use is highly susceptible to UV radiation. So if for some reason that resistor fails, that fishing line will just degrade and it'll spring open itself. You don't think it's a Harbor Freight tape measure? All right, I don't know what this is. Let's see if they say, uh-oh. they've invoked the Hermes Light 2. What are they saying about this? HF antenna, radio, low power HF SDR based on the Hermes Light 2. That link is dead. HF RF front end, 2-chain push-pull HF amplifier for 10 meters. Let's see if that one's also dead. It is. VHF RF front end transverter. Dang, all of those are dead. I'd like to see what that transverter design looks like. Camera, an off-the-shelf serial camera module with resolution worse than 7.5. 7.5 M per pix. What's the M? Let's see. Wonder if a signal stick wire would work. You know, the problem with signal stick wire, and I don't think I've noticed this myself, but I've heard others talk about it, and I can't remember which extreme causes the signal stick wire problem. Is it heat or is it cold? I think it might be heat that negatively impacts the signal sticks, right? If I'm not mistaken, do they droop? So that shouldn't be a problem in space. But I don't know about what the how it would handle the solar radiation. It does have performance issues in the cold. Okay. I could remember somebody saying that one of the extremes causes a problem. Couldn't remember which one it was. So we have Morse code beacon experiment. Provides information about the health of the electronic subsystems. $15 words per minute. Using the call sign VA7UVS. Okay, so that's interesting. So the call sign is transmitted in plain text, though the telemetry is encoded, which makes sense. And here's the encoding scheme. Oh, this is pretty cool. This is pretty fun stuff here. Okay, we've got a digipeater experiment. Real-time or store and forward mode. Very cool. Oh, you look at that. Look at that. And it's designed to operate the same way as the well-known green cube, but on VHF. You see that, Eric? It's not going to have the same height, of course, but let's see. Okay, here we go. The DVB-S2 experiment is a way for amateurs to receive live video from the camera via DVB-S2 signal, conforming to the QO100 operating guidelines, transmitting from MARMOTSat on the 10-meter amateur satellite allocation. So there you go. That's pretty cool. QPSK. very noise-sensitive experiment. Only those who meet the definition of quiet rural location as defined should attempt this experiment, and only for passes above 35 degrees elevation. Interesting. The video for this experiment is licensed under Creative Commons. Okay. Any HF 10-meter antenna. Let's see if they're talking turnstile here, it looks like. We're going to have to see if we can find out what, where's the problem in this URL. Wow. Here, let's go back here so we don't lose our place. And then let me come back here. And what was that? That was that GitLab or GitHub? We're going to see if we can track this down. GitLab. Let's just do a search here. GitLab OrcaSat. Well, isn't that what was puking? Yeah, Bing sucks. All right, let's get off of Bing. Here, let me get back here. Okay. Well, I wonder if they're having, let's see, self-hosted code repository. I bet you they're having some sort of problemo. Yeah. I thought of that as soon as it came out of my mouth, Eric. That's why I said, but it's not going to have the orbit. I wonder if can't reach this page. I wonder if they're just having a problem. It's not a secure thing. Okay, let's try this. Was it ever up? It was. Hasn't been changed since 2025. Come on, there was only one. Let's try the prior. Let's go back one more. I mean, I'm assuming it worked at one point. Did they turn off the crawler? Oh, okay. Maybe I wasn't being patient enough. So you have to create an account, it looks like. Was I just not being patient enough on the others? Let me go back. Let me be more patient. Huh. Never heard that before. All right, so I'm thinking they're just having some sort of hosting issue. Have to come back and check that at another time. It looks like turnstile. And then using an SDR. That's cool. That's fun. Let's see. So there's some, there's some good stuff for hams to check out on this satellite. That's cool. Lots of good information here too. So this is a nice reference, and well documented here. What's this? This is their control room. Sure is. Let's see the ground station. Oh, this is great. Hey, look, they're using SB electronic LNAs. Oh, is that a comet splitter as well? It's like a comet splitter there. I don't know what those things are. Stop that. I want to look at that picture. It's gonna let me, it won't let me grab that. But boy, this is pretty nice, right? This is pretty slick. That's nice and clean. It's a nice cable plant. And then this is nice here in the station too, how everything comes in. You see they've got a single ground grounding bus bar there that all the coax comes into. That's pretty smart. And then, but this is interesting here. They've also got one underneath the desk. I wonder if that's for, why would they use a different bus for that? That's interesting. Well, let's see if they say in their diagram. Let's see. Cable runs, bunches of LMR. I think this is that interface that we saw represented in this little box. Q5 running Q5 transverters. So they're putting, they put good stuff in here, right? So here's the SSB electronics LNAs. Look at that. A mini circuits RF limiter. Mini circuits, that's good stuff. Now, I'm not familiar with this Sinclair Technologies passband filter. I don't think I've ever seen that. Yep, here's the little Comet antenna splitter. Duplexer. Here's another mini circuits. Coming into the SSB electronics SP70. Coax relay. Coax relays. Interesting. And then they've got all the Q5 stuff. Yeah, they've definitely got some top-notch gear in here, no doubt about it. Everything's well labeled. Oh, that just warms the heart when you see that. It looks good. What is this here? Is this some Ruby stuff? What is this? Oh, it's a theme that they're using. Got it. Got it. Okay. Part of that was behind my camera, so I couldn't see what it said. There's a lot of good stuff out here if you guys are interested in lots of excellent detail here. Really cool. Hey, is that a 14.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? I think that's a 14. It is 11, 12, 13, 14. It's funny how you start to recognize those after you've been putzing around with them. All right, let's see what we got here with the team. Very nice. A bunch of friendly Canadians there. What do you think? What do you think, gang? Yeah, that's for sure. They, Eric, it seems like, well, I just think I think that's accurate, right? That the new birds are really low and they don't last long. I think those go hand in hand, right? When you're really low, I think that's just part of it. You don't last long. And I think they're really low because altitude is expensive, right? The higher you go, the more expensive it is. So I think a lot of these projects, in order to make budget, are going into a lower orbit because it's cheaper. I just think that's the economics of it. I think that's just the reality of it. Cool. Yeah, I'm sure that's part of it. I'm sure that deorbit, they are certainly much more stringent on the deorbit side. They are cheaper to launch now, but the higher you go, the more expensive it is. This one doesn't. I don't think this says how long the mission is intended. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see anything there. Let's see. Let's see if it says 4 to 5 months. Oh no, they're talking about the marmot life cycle there. So maybe there's no information out there on it. Let's see. Up to 10 years in orbit. Whoa. The intended mission duration is designed to last for up to 10 years. I wonder if that's actually the expected mission time frame. See what they have on this one here. That's awesome if it'll actually be up there for 10 years. Interesting. Let's see. They're required to have altitude or attitude control and maneuvering. That makes sense. Yeah, but there's different, Erica, aren't there? There's different. Leo is Leo, but there's also different heights for Leo, right? There's different. Yeah, so low Earth orbit from roughly 100 miles to 1,200 miles above the surface. So I think there's a lot of difference in terms of cost. Let's get out of this. Oh, I hate whenever I get into this Bing crap. Let's see. Does it cost more to go to low Earth orbit? Higher Leo than lower Leo. See if it can figure that out. Okay, yes, it costs more to launch a spacecraft to a higher low Earth orbit because rockets need more fuel and energy. Yeah. What's the difference in the cost factor? Does it give us that? Higher orbits have fewer shared rides. You might need a dedicated launch. That's what that's kind of the way I had always understood it to be, right? Is that if you're in lower Leo, it's not nearly as expensive as it is to go to higher Leo. Let's see, what do you got here? I DM'd you a 3D fly-through of what your PCB might look like. No way, already? All right, let me see this. Oh my gosh. All right, let me see here. All right, let me close my slicer. And I'm going to open up Discord. All right, let's see. I want to show this. That looks awesome. That looks awesome, Jody. I want to show this to folks. All right, let's see here. All right, let me see if I can bring this up. I can't believe you did that fast, Jody. All right, let's see. Where'd that thing go? Where did I save it? Yep, that looks perfect. Now, the only thing that looks actually not quite perfect, right? Because this is this boxed. We would just want straight in header pins, or else we need some sort of interface. But that's definitely the idea. That is definitely the idea. That is so cool. That is cool. Hey, Arnie, thanks for hanging out tonight. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend, buddy. That is so cool. Thanks for sending that over. So cool. Yeah, the shroud could be removed. Yeah. Let's see. No, I think you're right, Eric. Certainly if the rocket's going higher, but I think, just a factor of how those things get priced. I don't know this, right? This is just, this makes sense to me. Just, with the way that I've seen so many other things operate that, I think those ride shares likely have different slots at different altitudes, and those slots and those altitude prices are probably locked in on some sort of structured pricing matrix, right? Where even if, regardless of whether all the slots are full or what, right? The rockets go into that ultimate height anyhow. I doubt that they're going to give you a discount. I think they're going to hit you with a premium if you want a higher orbit. My gut tells me that's just how that stuff works. Right? There's I think you see the ultimate capitalist expression in something like space launch. There's just so much money involved. But that's really cool. I'm glad we took some time and checked that out. Let's see what else we had here. And these were from the AMSAT News Service here. They talked about OscarWatch Tracker. And I think I saw a couple of these being highlighted in X leading up to these official launches, right? I think they were showing off some of the beta. Or there were some beta users maybe that were sharing some of these things. This one doesn't appear to have, let's see, code issues. Discussion. Let's see, I think I saw, okay, so Flex Radio overhaul. So I'm not sure what the overhaul part means. Let's see, welcome. Milestone release. Big leap forward, Flex Radio integration. Okay, so if you're a Flex Radio person, this is going to be interesting. AO7 mode, okay. ICOM IC7300 dual radio support. Interesting. Added the 7300 as a dual radio CIV endpoint. Nice. Okay, what do we got here? Yaesu FT-817, 10 meter downlink documented and verified. Okay. Smarter dual radio tuning and rig controls. Oh, this is interesting. Some more dual radio stuff. Okay. SDR to TX passband tracking. Automatically nudges the transmit, passband, offset, and sync. Hey, that's just what that's what we were talking about. That's what the little cardputer does. Mirroring the behavior of a single radio main sub-tracking in both normal and reverse tracking modes. That's exactly what this is doing. That's exactly what that firmware is doing. Let's see. Some TS2000 stuff. Okay. Upcoming passes card redesign. I was hoping they might have some screenshots in here, but it doesn't look like they do. I know the ANS email had some screenshots. Let me see if I still have that handy. Let's see. So we've got SatTrack and we've got OscarWatch. Let's try that again. Okay, there we go. Let's see, where do we want this to go? That'll be fine. All right, let me see if I can bring this guy up. I thought I had it. Where'd you go? This is a decent looking screenshot, so. Oh, it's screenshot OscarWatch. Yeah. See you guys. Yeah, you're able to see that. Let's see. And this is for all three Linux, Windows, and Mac. So it's good looking software. I mean, it has a pleasing interface. Pretty interesting. Okay, that's that one. Let me see here. There's the other one too. Let me grab that while I'm at it. We can do a little comparing and contrasting. All right, let me bring this guy up and we'll show this one to you guys too. All right, let me find it real quick. Load this baby up. So in some regards, this looks a lot like gpredict. I mean, these don't, but the rest of this interface gives me a gpredict vibe. This is certainly a more modern looking type of interface. I mean, I think, you know, it's interesting. We're just going to continue to see more and more of these programs surface. It'll be interesting to see which ones take root, which ones stick around, which ones survive. I mean, we're going to go from complaining about a lack of modern software to being overrun by modern software. Oh, Eric's been using OscarWatch. What do you think of it, Eric? Have you been happy with it? Oh, nice. On the Mac and on the Hackberry. Nice. Good, good. I'm gonna have to download it on my Linux machine and give it a try. Controlling 2705s. Got it. That's awesome. Yeah, like I said, it's got a nice look to it. So this is version 1. How long have you been using it, Eric? How long has it been? Like I said, I think I recall seeing a few posts about it. But has it been since 0.89? Is that maybe 6 months or 3 months? Yeah, this looks pretty nice, actually. 2 months. You know, we're coming up. Gosh, what was the name? Do you guys remember last year at the AMSAT Symposium, OsTracks? Do you guys remember there was a guy who did a presentation? OsTracks. I think that's what it was. Every time, you know, I continue to go out there and check. So it is OsTracks, or at least I'm getting some hits there. Is it ostracks.com? I don't think it was. I thought it was something different, but let's check. Yeah, it was something different. But, you know, that really looked good. Oh, there, we talked about it on that version of the late shift. Trying to remember what the... Yeah, ostracks.com. You know, I wonder... That guy, it doesn't seem like that ever got released. Well, you know what? I know I had put it in my
saving money field.
I am pretty sure I put it here. Let's see. I thought for sure I had dropped. Maybe I hadn't. Let's see.
Feels right. Just like when things are packed tidy and tight. Get auto insurance.
All right. But here's what really got me excited and the top. Let's see. I don't know that this guy ever released this software, and now it kind of feels like he might be a little bit behind the 8 ball. You know, there's nothing out there on the web. Oh, yeah, that's what I want to see. Back here. I know there was another company that OsTrax was actually they're in the under a different company name. Get into position. I don't know. Do you guys remember what that was? I don't see any comments there. Let me see here. Let me try to. It was OsTrax. What was the name of that company? Because it, the guy had several other pieces of software, and this was just one of those. I don't know what else to search for. Well, let's see if these guys have it in their video. See if they've got... Oh no, this is the symposium itself. Okay. I wonder if he decided not to release that, or... Like I said, it feels like he's a little bit behind the 8 ball at this point. All right, let's try one more Wayback Machine. Oh, yeah, there was something out there. Got to be patient. Avenstar, that's what I couldn't. Avenstar. Okay, let's see. Okay, so Avenstar is still out there. And then the OsTrax was just... coming to your space soon, so that doesn't look like it's done anything. And it looks like the pointer that used to exist is no longer out there. So maybe with the proliferation of all these other solutions, he decided not to go forward with it. I don't know. No updates. That'd be a shame if he didn't release it. Oh, thanks, Gray Man. Let's see. Am I wearing the same shirt and hat? That's funny. I don't think I'd be wearing the same shirt. Now you got me wondering. Tim, I'm going to have to go look. It's your fault. I got to go look. It wouldn't be, that's not what got me where I was looking. It wouldn't be outside of the realm of possibility, Tim. I'm pretty basic in my wardrobe. I keep it pretty basic. Helps if I maybe spell it right. There we go. All right, Tim, let's see. Oh, that looks like it's short. That's not the one I wanted.
Here's the other thing that I was just.
Oh, that's a short as well. Let's see. See what you started, Tim? Oh, don't want that. Oh my gosh, what the heck? Stop it already. Oh, I hate this. Okay, let's see. I'm losing interest quickly here. We'll try it one more time. All right. Let's find out, Tim. Probably at the beginning's the best place to find out. Oh, different shirt. Maybe the same hat. We got commercialed.
But it also gets you automatically
same hat,
for
different
all
shirt.
the channel giveaways. And we're marching right along. We're
too funny. All right, let's see. Eric said, I saw one person using a Wi-Fi router, a WA4 rotator kit, laptop, and ThisNThat box all connected up just to connect it to a 2730 inch. Oh, yeah, that sounds painful, Eric. Oh, that sounds painful. Yeah, that's right. Low friction's the way to go, especially if you're going portable. Yeah, too funny. What was it? A couple of weeks back, which I forget. I pulled up somebody else's. Oh, I know what it was. A couple of weeks back, we were kind of toward the end of the stream. We had pulled up one of those personal helicopter things. I don't know if you guys remember that or not. But those kids in that that garage, I forget the name of it. They bought a personal helicopter off of Temu or something like that, and we were pulling it up and watching that video, and they were using some copyright music in that video, and I got an email the next day that said, I didn't get a strike. It just said that, what did it say? Basically that I was in a revenue sharing situation. Got bad luck or bad news for those guys. They're not gonna get a lot of money out of one of my live streams. A lot of new ops are afraid to hold their handheld antenna. Yeah, I don't know if there's just if there's a fear that that they're not going to be successful in being able to track it, or they're just trying to get rid of one more motor skill that's required in the process. I don't get it, Eric. I see that as well. I see exactly what you're saying. I mean, to me, keep it as simple as you can. I actually enjoy doing it by hand, more so than anything else. I just think it's, you know, you feel more connected to the process. Bricker, can't believe I'm still awake. What's a Piglet war driver, Bricker? I don't know what that is. All right, so let's see here. So we got a couple new software programs. I'm going to try out, if Eric's having good luck with OscarWatch, I'm going to give that one a try. I mean, I'm sure this one is fine as well. Like I said, it just gives me vibes of gpredict. It just doesn't, I mean, it's 2026. And that might not be fair. I probably need to look at it a little bit closer, but that's my first reaction is, oh my gosh, this looks like gpredict. But it looks like he's certainly highly engaged from a development standpoint, which is nice, right? And certainly happy to support people that are putting tools out there, good tools, and supporting those tools. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. See, it captures Wi-Fi SSIDs and GPS locations and allows me to play a war driving game. Gotcha. They found photos from my neighbor's house. Oh my gosh, that is crazy. That is so crazy. Man, I tell you, we got just a taste of a tornado here. And, you know, we were so fortunate compared to many others in our immediate area. And, it's just, it's heartbreaking. It's devastating to see that type of destruction up close. And I can't imagine, having it be my family. So best of luck with all of that stuff, Eric. Oh wow, found the 891. Was it in a destroyed state, or I don't know if you had a chance to even try it, Eric. Those are pretty robust systems, but being tossed around in a storm is a whole different level. Oh, nice. Well, that's encouraging. Congratulations on that. Hopefully it works fine in a Gigaparts bag. Nice. Oh, gotcha. The pouch that's made just for the 891. I tell you, that's a great story for those guys if that's the case. Yep. And it has the rails. That's a fantastic story, right? I mean, Carlos has a great story for the ID50 in terms of its toughness. I would say your story is equally as impressive, Eric. I'd let the Gigaparts folks know about that for sure. I bet you they would love to hear that. Now, were those 3D printed rails, or did you have armor lock or some other type of rail on that? Metal rails. I mean, if those are a commercial rail too, right? I mean, I bet you any of those companies would love to hear that. I mean, that is a testament to those products. Heavy duty. Yeah. That's cool. Glad to hear you're getting at least some slivers of silver linings here and there. All right. Well, I think that's everything I wanted to share tonight. Like I said, I'm certainly having a lot of fun with this. I'm excited for the progress I've been able to make in a relatively short amount of time. I'm looking forward to getting this put into a little bit more of a shareable state. The other thing I'm trying to think about is maybe putting something on the back of this so I could like slide it into some MOLLE straps on like the front of a bag or something, right? Just as a way to kind of connect this to a bag. Not that it's just for the purposes of it, using it during an actual pass. Oh, geez. Oh. Lost him in a tornado. Yep. I don't know what happened to him. Lost him in a tornado. Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. All right, gang. Well, I think we backtracked and looked at the things I was interested in looking at. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Thanks for indulging me as I shared my my new project. Hopefully some of you guys found it interesting. And like I said, as soon as I get some stuff posted on it where others can start to play and iterate on it, I'll let everyone know. Yeah, not another boating loss. Yeah, exactly. Well, you've got like National Weather Service reports to back this one up too. But hey, I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Hopefully you're staying cool, finding some respite from all the crazy weather that we've been having. Maybe I'll see you guys in Huntsville. Right, that's just right around the corner. So looking forward to that. Can't wait to get back on the mountain and hang out with everybody and enjoy the show. And it's always a good time, and I'm looking forward to it. So get out, practice some radio, work some birds, have some fun this weekend, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. 7-3.